We would like to welcome you to the program today. We have something a little bit different that we're doing. I've shared with you before, I've been working on some things and looking at a lot of different videos from the past and things like that, and looked at one I interviewed of my grandfather a while back, and I was thinking how much stuff I believe that we actually miss that we don't get to pass on. And there's some things that are things that we need to share that we've been through, things in our life we've been through, or sometimes it's just stuff that we have that goes on, and we need to be able to share those things and pass them on to somebody. It's important to each other. But today, here with me in the studio, after pulling multiple phone calls, actually it just took one phone call real quick. It seems like everybody was ready. I have my aunt and uncle here with me today, Kenny and Jeanette, and two people have really touched my life and blessed me and been a blessing to me in my life. And got them here in the studio today. We're going to share some things and talk about some things that might interest you or might not interest you, but we're going to talk about them anyway, and we can.
What you said?
This is my Uncle Kenny Dash and my Aunt Jeanette, and they're here with us today, and I want to talk to them some. Kenny, we talked about something beforehand, how stories and accounts can be a little different. And I think that's really important because I've seen how they, like you said, Papa would tell something, he had one account of it, Harold has one account, Dad has one account, and you have one account. You know what I mean? That's like Dad used to tell that story about how poor y'all was, and didn't have plates and had to draw with a crayon on the table when you ate. And he said that Mama finally told him to shut up and quit telling that. And it's something how it will, but the Bible's full of things people had different accounts of it. You know what I mean? They sort of look at it, and one would see it sort of from one way, and one would see a whole lot more in another way.
Yeah, I look at the four Gospels, Luke, John, Matthew. Mm-hmm. All of them have a different account of something. And it's worded different in the Scripture.
Yeah, so we see things a little bit different.
Yeah.
And Jeanette's here with me. Jeanette, you have a deep family history. Okay, we could call that. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of things there that that have been real important. I mean, all the way back to Bradshaw Mountain. Okay, but I mean, all the way back. But what was your maiden name?
Click.
And who were your parents?
Laura and Reuben.
Laura and Reuben. Mm-hmm. Where were they from?
I think my dad was originally from Harlan, Kentucky, wasn't he, Ken?
Yeah.
That's where he originated from. My mom, I guess, was just from Big Creek Hollow.
Yeah.
Most people were from Big Creek Hollow back then. So. Mountain Fork, yeah.
Sort of migrated around a little bit.
Yeah.
That was
and that actually, I guess, is where they met, really, because we lived at Creta most of the time.
I lived in Creta from Big Creek. Well, that was
yeah, we did.
And where did you grow up at?
Well, started out in Creta, ended up kind of on Bradshaw Mountain about 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Back in Creta. And then I was 16 when my mom died, so then I moved to War. Met Kenneth.
Yeah. How old was you then?
Well, I was about 17 then, I guess. Yeah. We got married at 18, so I was 18.
That was a whirlwind romance, wasn't it?
2.5 months.
Well, when you're young like that, a lot of times you didn't know better. You know what I mean? You just
I knew better.
I didn't know something. I've always said that if you look in the Bible how things work, that woman sort of created, when the devil deceived Eve, that God put something secret inside of a woman where they could be tricked. If he didn't, we would never get a wife. You had to have them where you could deceive them and trick them, make them think something. Well, yeah, honey, I'm really something else, But I mean, so you grew up in Creta, lived in Bradshaw Mountain. What about family in that area? Sisters, brothers?
I still have one sister left. That's all I have. And then I have 2 nephews that we raised. Margaret's will be 85 next month, and I guess I'd say I'm the 9th child, and we're the only 2 living actual. But Buddy and Larry were just like brothers, really. But
where's Margaret live at now?
Bradshaw Mountain.
She lives on Bradshaw Mountain.
She's lived there since she was 18.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's what are some memories, Jeanette, when you think about growing up? I mean, what are some things that sort of stand out in your mind that you remember that were things you enjoyed or things you liked?
When we lived on Bradshaw Mountain, we weren't isolated. We lived on a farm, and there were several families. And, of course, I went to a one-room school. And that was like a big family. Ken said, how you know them people? A girl died the other day, and I was saying, I know her. And he said, how you know all these people? I said, Ken, that was a one-room school. Yeah. I mean, we knew all of them. And actually, we had friends out there, and we had a ball team. We wasn't isolated. I mean, we did things, Yeah. You didn't go to movies. You didn't do this or that. We had, we had no electricity, but we had a good time. So, I mean, we did lots of things. And, of course, when I moved back to Coretta, we went to a church, down at the little Baptist church right below my house. So, I mean, I was raised in church, really. I was, so.
It seemed to be at times in our, and I've always been things do change or some things that are different, but I mean, there, as far as, and I don't mean it as entertainment, but as far as what you've done in your life when you talk about going to church, when you grew up, if there wasn't things that you done, but when you went to church was where you socially met.
That's right.
You met people, you met family, you spent time with people that ordinarily it created a family atmosphere also, didn't it?
It did. It really did, and they were really good to us because I guess everybody knew my mother was, sickly, and they just had a feeling for us, and they shared a lot of stuff with us and took us places and done things with us. So, yeah, it was good.
When she passed, what did she pass away from? Do you know what
we don't really know. We don't know.
Where did she come from? Did you know anything about where she came from?
Not, just like I said, at Mountain Fork, really, as far as I know. That's as much as I know.
Yeah. And say, it's strange in that area, we don't know sometimes,
I guess we just, back then, you didn't ask because I was so young back then. Now you would know to ask, like Kenneth and them would, know more about their dad because they were older. But, when your dad's young and your mom's young, she was 56 when she died, so you don't find out a lot of stuff, really.
Yeah, it's...
Being 16 years old, you just try to do what you can do back then.
Yeah. It was well, now, what kin was you to Anna?
My sister.
Anna was your sister, okay? I mean, that's why, I remembered her well. I remember Anna growing up, and, a lot of, I was young, and all those things. I remember all that.
Yeah, she was 2 years older than me.
I remember her, But so when you think about things in life, I guess fond memories, and I'm always trying to think of things I remember that I enjoyed, things I liked, and try to just think about them some and along those some. But when you think about, the one-room school, how that wasn't created by the Amish people. It's something they held on to, but it was something that you
learned a lot in the one-room school. I mean, they took time with each individual classes. It was interesting, really. Yeah. And
they showed a lot, found in Amish country, sharing with them a lot, and they showed how some of the older kids would help with the younger kids, and how they would begin to help each other, and it sort of helped them learn how to serve.
I'm sure.
And how we do that as we go along. Well, when you grow up, then things we look at now that are novelties. When we talk about canning, farming, gardening, things like that, it wasn't a novelty then, was it?
No. I have helped can till 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was hard work.
It was a necessity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't a novelty.
Not really.
Well, children. Do you have any children that I know of? I mean, I don't know if you have any.
You know one, I'm sure.
Well, I know Lynn's. That was my older cousin Lynn. I know her, but I can't. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, you're right. Lynn and Kathy and David and Matthew. Yeah,
that's a big crowd.
Yeah, Lynn works at the bank in Moore. Kathy's beautician in Cleveland at J.C. Penney's. David works for O.J. Douglas, Mortuary in Welch, and of course Matthew works in Richlands, and he's the fire chief for War. So they're kind of all got their own thing going.
Yeah, they sure do.
We're really proud of them. They are all Christians. So.
Lynn seems to be enjoying handling that money, don't she?
Loves
it. She loves that, just going through and dreaming and holding all that stuff. I can just imagine.
You taught her that, didn't you, Tom?
The only thing I didn't like about Lynn, and I can just say it because I just feel like you ought to be honest in case I'd fall dead tomorrow, is the problem we run into with Lynn, and I know, Kenny, you never had a situation like this growing up, but when I run into with Lynn was, in school, our names were in alphabetical order, okay? And they would do that. They would call out, okay, they would call out the grades you made. And they would call out Lynn's, and she would have an A+. And then they would call out mine, and I would have a D-. That always bothered me. I thought about her. I said, but, that thing, she always, she was so smart. I ain't saying she ain't smart now, but I'm saying she was so smart. Man, in school, she seemed like she just would excel and do so good.
Kathy always resented the fact when she followed her, the teachers would say, I hope you do as well as your sister, which, wasn't right, but
they only done
we've
me
laughed
like that. They
about
would say
that.
as well as your cousin. They done me like that a few times, and they knew I wasn't going to. And they pretty much settled and lowered the bar where I could work things out. They said, well, that's why they put me in trade school when I was in the 9th grade. I'm in the 8th grade. No, I was in junior high. They put me in trade school. They knew I wasn't going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a brain surgeon. I pretty much was going to have to work with a hammer.
Well, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, for an old guy.
We're proud of
for an old guy. But she's so sharp in school. I remember growing up how she really was good at things like that. And,
she is.
And then, with Kathy and Lynn and David. But I tell you, Matthew come on a little later in life, though, didn't he?
About 9 years later. Yeah, after David.
That was a long spell.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like that snuck up on you. But he's turned out to be a blessing. He has always had his own tune. Seems like Matthew has.
Yeah.
He tickled me. He's always had it. I'm watching some videos of David. I've got some videos that you ought to see of several years ago, him ministering and when we were overseas together, when Dave was overseas with me in Jamaica. I got some videos of those things and him singing underneath the tent and doing those things. Really good stuff. He was a blessing.
He's always loved the Lord.
Yeah, and man, he's always been able to sing. Really has. We got a lot of grandchildren. We've got a world of those.
We got 10.
My Lord, that's a lot, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that's got out of hand.
I think we've got 5 boys and 5 girls.
Gee whiz.
I believe.
So if y'all joined the church, you could vote on the pastor and pretty much have control, couldn't you? You'd be able to go right in.
We have one great grandchild too.
Yeah.
We can't forget him.
No, you better not.
I better say Cole's name.
Yeah, you better get him in there. Kenny, I tell you, one of the things we've run into a lot, and you and I have seen, growing up, as you share, there's so many things that seem like, I look back on things in my life and it's so much fun. There's things that seem like, and we always say the same thing, if we would have just known, we would have enjoyed it better, if we would have had, So when we talk about family, Papa, John Colson Dash, is your father, and then Pearl, and then with Grandma, and we talk about, we understand where they came from and how that worked out, and the brothers. A lot of people ask me which one of the brothers I am when they'll see me and Dad. Now, which brother are you? I say, I'm the young one. I said, that's pretty bad, ain't it? But so we talk about brothers, and what do you think in your life when you think about growing up? What are some of the things that stand out in your mind that you remember that you think about? They're fond memories. You know what I mean? Things that you enjoyed.
Well, when I got big enough and to go to my grandmother's, my mother's mother, their house, they had a coal mine, and they sold coal to make a living. My grandfather had got hurt in the mines, and he was no longer able to earn a living, and it was hard. And they mined this coal with a wheelbarrow and a pick and a shovel, and it took 13 wheelbars to make a ton of coal. And I'd go on Saturday down with them and help them fill up. They had a box, a chute that went over the hill, and a box on the bottom that held 5 tons of coal. And we'd fill that box up with coal, roll it out in that wheelbarrow, and my grandmother would slip me 50 cents, and she'd say, you can go to the movies, but don't tell your mother and dad, because Mom and Dad frowned on movies. Mm-hmm. And when that movie is over, you get yourself back up that road home. So I did that, and it was really, something that I didn't get to do at home, and then to be with them, me and Pete Enoch, Vester. They were all my uncles, but we're not too far apart in age, and I enjoyed being with them. I mean, it was a real thrill to get to go and be with them. And Pete had a paper route, and we used to help him deliver papers. You know, it was Welch Daily News, and we'd get a bottle of pop or a candy bar or something, you know, and you didn't see a whole lot of that stuff either. I mean, mom, dad, and 7 children, and dad just worked in the mines and farmed, and at times, you know, you appreciated everything you got, really.
When you think about growing up, now, where's the first place that you remember actually growing up at as a child? Where do you remember growing up at?
Really, Warrior Mines. I started to school, I believe, in 1942, and me and Eddie were real close. There's about, I think, 18 months between us, and we played together. I remember one time we both got the whooping cough, and the principal of the school, he was also the touring officer, and we were out. If you caught that whooping cough in the spring, why, it stayed till the sap went down in the trees. You would hoop and cough and carry on, and so we were out playing when the principal drove up. So we had an outdoor toilet, about everybody did in that whole coal camp, and we hid behind that toilet till the principal got gone. You know, of course, we probably wouldn't have done anything to us because we were both still
contagious.
Yeah. And then, you know, we had a cousin that was in the Air Force. His name was Douglas Overbay, and he worked at a service station before he went in the Air Force. And when we were playing, one of us would be Douglas Overbay, and the other one would be Roland Clark, the man that owned the service station.
Yeah.
And hey, we had a great childhood, I thought. I mean, I really enjoyed it, you know. And then the war, we could, everybody back then got a Sears Roebuck catalog, and we would look in that catalog at toys, and it would be stamped right across it, not available, because in wartime there wasn't a lot of things that you could buy.
Well, let me ask you, when you think about growing up now, so if you know, the things that we think, and I know there's some things that I don't know if we can fix because it's just the way we think at that point in time in our life. But the things we think are so important, maybe even that Papa, or maybe people that we think were so important, and the other stuff that we remember, if you think back of what it cost nothing. Those things, those memories of the things we done and the time we spend together. But it seems like we can spend so much other time in order to have things that mean nothing, instead of really doing the things that's most important. And I believe that's near the time we talk about spending time together with the family and doing some things and just being with them, versus spending all your time to get things that you think might make somebody happy. You know, because when I hear you talk about the memories and the things that were so important, that touched your heart, that you remember, they weren't what somebody got you or what you done here or stuff like that. But it's something, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, on Sundays, most of the relatives would come to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and we got to see all them, and we played with them and talked to them, and we were a real close family. Cousins was really close, you know. You didn't, they were not someone you seen there once a year or something like that. It was almost every Sunday.
Yeah.
And I can remember my uncle, he lived in a place where the water wasn't good, and he had a well, but he always stopped by my grandmother and grandfather's, and had a glass 5-gallon jug similar to those they use on the fountains and stuff today, and an old rubber hose, and he always put that on Granddad's faucet and filled that old jug up and took 5 gallons of water home every time he come out of that place and went back in it for their drinking water. And just a number of things that I remember, you know, growing up. And
you remember what was that up at Warrior Mines that we used to go up there and get water up at that spring up there?
Overflowing well.
Overflowing well. Used to go back. Remember going up there and getting water?
Yeah.
When I was a boy, going up there having jugs and go up there and get water and bring it back down. You know, I don't know if anything was wrong with our faucet water. I remember going up and getting the water, growing up as a boy and things like that.
A lot of people, you know, really liked that. It was red sulfur water, but a lot of people liked it, and it was a thing that Dad said years and years before my time that they played ball up there, and everybody went there and got a drink of water. It was actually a drill hole that they had drilled a sample of coal below there, and the gas pushed the water out. It was like an overflowing well.
Yeah.
And then where Dad and them lived at Rift, there was one, and there was one on the Welch Pineville Road. I know of those three, and I'm sure there was more.
Yeah. You know, it's similar to an artesian well, I guess. But I mean, I think about those things growing up, you know, as a boy. And did you ever? And I don't know if you ever. We used to go swimming at Berwyn Lake when I was a boy, at night. I remember Sonny Ploss going, and I remember going up there. That was a hoot. That was like a. I mean, that was more important than anything we've ever done. We'd go up there and dive off that dock. And I mean, I couldn't have been big as nothing. My dad, I don't know what he was trying to do. I think about those things in your life, you know, and go with Sonny Ploss and him blind as a bat, and it'd be at night. I mean, literally blind. I don't mean he couldn't see well. He was blind. And he would go swimming with us. Yeah. Jump in that water off the dock at night and swim in that lake. I remember that water was so warm. Yeah. I can remember that.
Yeah, we'd swim as long as we wanted to, and then climb back up there and put our clothes on. With skinny dipping.
Listen, forever skinny dipping. I never quite understood that. But I never think about that. You never swim with your clothes on. You didn't want to get your clothes wet. No. You know, I can remember. And I remember as a boy, it was Sonny Ploss when we go right. I think about Sonny sometimes. I think about, you know, those of you didn't know, Sonny was blind. He could I think he could tell maybe daylight. I don't know.
That's it.
But he would always feel people's faces to find out who they was are. You know, I mean, he was a little bit flirtatious, I believe. I remember that growing up, hearing it.
Yeah, he'd feel my arm.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, Sonny there, he was blind, and we'd ride ponies and horses on Sunday. And I remember we would ride to the lake, and Sonny would go with us, riding a horse, blind on the road. And then Dad I would be riding something that would be crazy, and I would always start crying when I got up there. And Dad would take me off my pony, take the bridle off, and put me behind Sonny Ploss, and let me ride back home with him. So I got to thinking about there. Sonny was blind on a horse on a hardtop, and my dad would put me behind him. And I'm not sure if he was trying to make me. It's like calling me Sue, like a boy named Sue. I don't know if he was trying to get rid of me or make me tough. But the memories you think about, you know what I mean? And I think about growing up and in your life and the stuff that stands out in your mind and the history, how important it is. Yeah. Yeah. Think about children. I mean, I think about, you know, of course, you know, I was close with Kathy and Lynn growing up, and with David, but Kathy and Lynn, we were the same age. Of course, you know, Lynn was a lot older than me, but Kathy was a lot younger than me. I think about that. Well, I can't remember how those things. I can't remember well, but I think about how you grow up with each other. And one of the things that stood out in my mind, and stuff I cannot remember if y'all ever got me anything for Christmas. You may have had, Jeanette, and I just don't remember. I can't remember things like that. But I do remember on Sunday nights, we would come to the house and watch PTL after church. We would watch Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. We had to get after church. We'd come to the house and have sandwiches and have stuff and watch Jim and Tammy Faye. And that was the biggest highlight. I remember so much. Oh, we just couldn't wait to get there to watch them. You know, to see those things, how it stands out in your mind and stuff like that growing up. And what are some of the things, Ken, when you think about that you've seen? I know a lot has changed, But I mean, really, that has affected you in your heart and your life. What do you think some of the things, the changes that you've seen over the years, just around you?
Well, I've seen wages take such a change. My first job, I made 30 cents an hour, worked 12 hours, make $4. And today, you know, I worked in a garage. Sir, I worked in 3 different dealerships for $60, $65 a week. And now then they get $60, $65 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been such a change there. And same way with clothing. I used to could buy a pair of Wrangler jeans and a jacket to match them for $5, $2.50 for each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been such a great change. Sometimes it's hard to realize and to adjust to the change that has happened, and yet you have no control over it.
Right.
You're just one of the subjects,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah. But I know it seems like it all seems to sometimes equate back to the price of a gallon of milk. It always seems like to me everything goes back. I see how it used to. But when you talk about things that we take for granted now, I think how funny it was growing up. And Jeanette, I know you touched on some of the stuff that we think was a big deal, and then it was a big deal to us then. But how now when you think about popping candy, or think about candy bars, or we think about meals and things we eat now, that we take so much for granted, that we got such a wide choice that we're trying to figure out what to do, when there's times in your life you're thinking, if I just had the necessities. Does that make sense?
We basically don't eat, I guess, a lot like other people. You know, we don't have to have steak every night or all that. We're basically back the way we did, you know, way we were raised, because we like that food.
Yeah.
You have to watch what you eat according to your diet now, but you know, I mean, you know, we eat normal. I mean,
Well, what about growing up? I mean, what are some of the things when you think about growing up? As, you know,
eating?
Yeah, you know, the things that things that you didn't get, when you did get, was a big deal.
Well, Ken talks about the peanut butter and bread, like they used to have peanut butter sandwiches. I can't remember having peanut butter that much when I grew up, but when I married Kenneth, I mean, that was a normal thing. You got peanut butter sandwiches and had hamburgers, I think, and we didn't, you know, because I guess Dad wasn't